This show is Clear Picture Financial with Jason Noble. I'm Jackie Selby, your consumer advocate. Thank you very much for joining us today. Jason Noble of Clear Picture Financial, right here in the Holy City. And Jason, you have a lot of initials behind your name. You are most certainly qualified to help people get a clear picture of their finances now and then in the future going into retirement. Certified financial planner, retirement income certified professional, and most recently, Advisor Hub gave you an award, which I love this, of their 100 solo advisors. You made the top 5 overall, and you're the only one in South Carolina. Of 100 advisors, you're top 5. You're the top 5 for me too, Jason, that's for sure.
Thank you.
I like today's topic. We are going to be talking about a Northwest Mutual study. They did a planning and progress study, and they highlight Americans' attitudes about their finances and the current financial state and the economy. So let's dive into their biggest takeaways from the big survey that they published and see if we can add some peace of mind for folks. It looks like people are worried about their financial security. You know, the thing that you talk about all the time is the financial security that they deserve and that they desire.
That's right. Both are extremely important. And 67% of U.S. adults expect the economy to enter in a recession later this year. That's 2/3 of Americans.
Wow.
Now, of this group, 3 out of 4 expected that the recession we'll see on the horizon to have a high or moderate impact on both their immediate and long-term finances. And then just over half, so 51% of the respondents cited inflation being a big cause, with 26% citing that the potential recession emerged as a top financial concern this year. So this is not surprising, but it's definitely informative. And the third of respondents of just short of 1 in 4 Americans cited gas prices. So we're definitely seeing those as well.
Yeah, if you talk to folks in West Coast cities, they are seeing a much higher gas price than we are comfortably over here in the Southeast, I feel like. Even though, don't you feel like it's too much? We're still paying too much.
Absolutely. And again, just further uncertainty going on overseas, especially in Israel now. We still have a conflict in Ukraine. I mean, this is definitely have an impact on the global economy. We see a tightening of China's economy. So there's a lot of definite headwinds that we need to be addressing. If you're not already, this is where you got to have a conversation.
For sure. And do you find it surprising that people still say they need $1 million? Actually, $1.27 million to retire comfortably. Does that number surprise you at all?
Well, that number has been increasing. That number was 1.25 million last year. Now, I know this is what Americans are saying, what they believe they need to be able to retire. So we're seeing that number go up. Now, the average Americans have saved for retirement is $89,300.
Well, that's a far cry from 1.27 million.
Yeah, what we say here is there's an opportunity for improvement, right? So we got some work to do. Now, the average, among the age groups, people in their 50s expect to need the most in retirement, but breaking that down a bit more by the age groups. You okay if I do that here?
Yes, please.
Where the folks that are in their 50s believe that they need about $1.5 million for retirement, but currently have about $110,000 saved. Far cry again. Now, folks in their 60s, if you're in the 60s, listen up. They believe they need about $968,000 for retirement, but currently have closer to $112,500.
Wow, they have more money.
They do. $2,000 more on average than the 50s. Now, the folks in their 70s, they believe they need about $936,000, but on average, they saved about $113,900. So isn't it interesting, like the older they saved a little bit more? It could be because they had time on their side to have compounding returns and things of that nature that come into play. But if they're believing they need $900,000, $1 million plus to be able to retire, the question that I have is for if you're listening right now, right? You're watching us on YouTube or wherever you get your social media. What do you have in your account, and what do you believe you need to be, and what are you doing? Like specifically, what are you doing? to be able to get to where you think you need to be. And if you don't have a plan in place, this is where you got to reach out so we can have that conversation so I can help you get to the journey that you want to be able to live in.
You know, people feel better when they work with a financial advisor. They give this statistic in the survey that we're talking about from Northwest Mutual. They say they feel a whole lot better. 37%? They get a boost in confidence working with a financial advisor. And this does not surprise me in the least, Jason, especially after talking to you, on the radio and on and on the video, because you know the stuff. You study this stuff 24/7, I feel like. Do you go to sleep with Financial Advisor magazine on your chest and then wake up with the knowledge on your head? Like Edgar Cayce, didn't he go to sleep with the books, laying down on the book, and then wake up and have the knowledge? Because there is a whole lot of information that you have to keep up with, right?
Well, I would say that I believe it's so important for me to do this for my clients and also for my own information and knowledge, to study what is going on in the market, the economy, and in the financial planning arena. About an hour a day. Sometimes it could go to an hour and a half. It's one of those things where if I pull on a string, I like to keep on pulling on it, so I make that sweater into a tank top. But it drives me. This is my calling. This is what I was called to do, and I have that passion on it.
Right.
And, and I thought there was so many really good takeaways that came out of this survey that it's going to be so cool to kind of cover with you today as well.
Sure, let's do that. So how a financial planner can impact your confidence level, all right? People who work with an advisor and people who do not. Let me give you some percentages. I have had or will have a successful career. People feel 85% better about that once they've worked with a financial planner as opposed to 62%. Isn't that sad that people who don't meet with a professional think that their career could have been a failure?
Well, it is, but you could tell through our conversations, I really focus on, I'm a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's a 37% increase in those who work with an advisor versus those who do not, that feel like they had a successful career. I mean, that is meaningful. And that is one of the percentages that's actually the lowest percentage of increase. I'm looking forward to talking about some of these other ones.
Okay, let's do. I have enough money for retirement. 80% of individuals feel that when they work with an advisor. 58% do not feel that because they don't work with an advisor.
Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at, for those who don't work with an advisor, just nearly above half feel like they have enough for retirement. Oh my goodness. When you go through statistics, okay, if you're ever interested in going through it, or if you haven't already, the worst statistic, the worst number that you could get as far as odds is 50%.
Yeah,
that's the worst. Okay. Well,
nobody wants that.
Nobody. But there's a 38% increase in those who have an advisor that feel like they have enough money for retirement.
That's a beautiful world, right?
It's a beautiful, so it provides them more confidence and a peace of mind by working with a qualified professional. There's some other ones that I know that we want to get to.
Do you want me to move on to the My Financial Planning incorporates the possibility of emergencies? 80% of people who work with you, a financial advisor, feel that that's possible. And then back to half, who feel like, nope, I don't have enough money for emergencies. And that's just about planning. Isn't that what that says?
This was one of the biggest increases. It was a 63% increase of those who work with advisors feel like their financial plan incorporates the possibilities of emergencies. Now, if you're one of my clients and you answered this survey and you said, and you were one of the 80%, okay, that's not surprising. But if you were one of the 20% that said no, we do what's called cash management accounts to account for emergency savings. We also do portfolio payday to account for cash flow needs that we build in emergency savings right into the cash flow analysis. So This is what we believe. The heart of a financial plan is money in, money out, and what are we doing with the difference? So if that's not being addressed, I wonder who the 20% who works on advisor.
What you're saying is your clients, it's 100% that they feel like they have money for an emergency.
I have enough money to retire when the time comes. This is from non-retirees. 74% of those who work with advisors said that they have this confidence, while 45% who don't work with an advisor said that they have this. So that, I'll say, this is the largest increase that we've seen in the study. It was a 64% increase of those who work with advisors feel like they have enough money to retire when that time comes. I got to say, folks, you don't want to be betrayed by the market the day that you retire by having the market pull back and you don't have a plan in place. I'm going to ask you to pay attention on this. If you're listening or watching right now and you're going, I have my finances in order. The question that I have for you is, how do you know that? Like, what are the things that you haven't addressed yet or thought to address yet that could be lurking around the corner that you're going to need to make sure that has a conversation and has a plan around that? And so, if you were listening to those who don't have an advisor, those percentages, those are significant. Mm-hmm. Working with a qualified professional provides you that confidence and that peace of mind as long as they're qualified and they're looking at key aspects of your finances. What we look at as non-negotiables, what we look at for every single person we serve is what are their fees for the investment strategy? What is the risk that they're taking within their investments, making sure it's an appropriate amount of risk for where they are in their stage of life. And the third non-negotiable that we look at for every person that we serve is their taxes. We believe more money in your pocket and less than Uncle Sam's allows you to have a more fulfilling life. More money in your pocket allows you to do more things that you want to do. And that's why we focus on those three primary things.